Friday, kun ottakaa kahvia ja jääkää kuunnella.
I think so.
Ei tässä mä puolesta mutta mennyt, syökää tässä ja niin saadaan vähän yleisön painoa. No niin, hei Joonas, hieno sitä.
Jos on laitetaan parempi kuin tavan. Ehkä laitetaan tuohon kaupunkiin kattoon se.
Here what we have today. We have wonderful, magical time starting. So we're starting the streaming, live streaming.
And after that, you can show me like when you want to talk about your topic, and if you have any questions regarding that. Like today, I'll be sending an email.
Time to enjoy it. Like season.
This is the season here.
Yeah.
It's not here.
Well, from Spain, I guess. They grow that on street side.
Hello, welcome. Are we live? already. Good, thank you. Thank you, Jonas Himmanen, who is our Chief Director here at the Software Startup Lab, Jyväskylä, Finland. Welcome to Open Pitch Friday. This is an event where startups, entrepreneurs, companies are introducing their ideas, and we are running this every first Friday of the month. Except for the first Friday this year, we were too busy having holidays, so this is the only occasion we have the second Friday. In any case, the purpose of this event, we have exciting ideas being presented and shared and commented, and we have a nice audience here on site to give ideas, response, questions, and perhaps even join the team if that is the case. And we will jump in. My name is, by the way, Pekka Abrahamsson. I'm the director of the Software Startup Lab here in Jyväskylä, also a professor of information systems and software engineering. And we are now moving into our first pitch of the day. We do have 3 presentations today, and we'll see how we are able to get them running right by each other, as we were just notified that some people are still on their transport to here. But we will move on to our first pitch, titled Nordism, held by Xi, and the idea is the gateway for Nordic consumer industries to China. Very exciting, thank you, and join the stage with me. And the stage is yours, please.
Okay. Hello, I'm very glad that I'm the first one standing here in the new decade. And this is about China. Okay. We have only 5 minutes, let's do it. The gateway for Nordic consumer industry to China. Nordism, it's not anything political. And this is me. Please follow my logic. We identify the problem, we find out the cause, and we find the solution. Okay, first, we all know that China is money. But what do Chinese consumers see Nordic? Well, basically, they don't have any, they don't feel the existence of Nordic in China because there's no content, no product, no service, and there's no reliable sources for them to learn. And there are a lot of fake Nordic stuff. Well, they don't have time to learn, they are incapable to learn. And many people can even distinguish the Nordic nations. But they still have a very positive impression about Nordic, which is quite impressive, but which is also very sad. Okay, but why? There are 4 levels of consumers. The more they love about something, the more they are willing to consume. It's like a love story. But in our case, what do they love? They don't love one specific Nordic brand. What they love is Nordic as a very blurry concept. So, you see, only when consumers on level 3 and level 4 are considered as buyers, we should build supply channels for buyers. But now we are at level 1. They are at level 1. Don't attempt to sell anything to level 1 consumers. It's a disorder. On level 1, what we should do is to level them up by applying cultural influence. In other words, we answer questions from them with good content. They will also ask 3 questions. What is Nordic? Why is Nordic good? How to be Nordic? Well, they want answers now from someone who they can trust. A loud, united voice from Nordics, not from Chinese. This is so-called a discourse authority. And the words should be said on the Chinese social media. Do you know this? If you know, but do you know these? China runs in its own system, nothing Western. When we talk about delivering the message, we should do it there, okay? And when we move up to level 3 and level 4, and we start to build supply channel, it's also a Chinese system, which is more complex, and you don't want to know at this moment. But can Nordics answer the demand from the demand side? Let's look at the supply side. So this is the Nordic companies, highly scattered across 5 countries, leaderless. They are mainly small players with very limited resources, and they lack of knowledge about China. Usually, many of them are with very conservative business models. Everybody's holding a very good card, or at least a not bad card in their hand, but there's only one card. How can they play? How can they answer the big questions? How can they become the discourse authority? Well, it's quite sad. But what's wrong with that sword? You should stop it, because there is a solution. How about this? Or how about this? When we integrate the resources and organize everything, we have very good cards in one hand, and now we know how to play. And the Nordism is going to be the player. This is the very rough structure about what we do. It's app-centric. The content platform is the discourse authority. The product and the service platforms are supply channels. Altogether, it's an ecosystem, inclusive of all participants on both sides. As it grows, it expands into more industries and will deepen Nordic-China integration. On each platform, suppliers stay on their side, only on their side. They don't need to encounter customers directly, which saves a lot of trouble. So this is an example of, for example, we have a product platform here. It's an e-commerce platform. People on the left side, they produce. And Nordism in the middle, we integrate, we process, and we sell. And then on the right side, they consume. This is a very good system where efficiency is at its maximum. Of course, we have to start from something. We start from Nordic design industry because it is the signature and the best image for Nordic consumer industry. Once you have the glass, you think about the drink, you think about the paint, you think about the fire and everything else. Yeah, so we have to start from the designers. Who's on the left? You all know who he is. Yes, that's correct. But who's on the right?
Not Alvar Aalto.
That's also correct. I don't know who he is. It's a random guy I found on internet. But you know, the problem is some Chinese company may fake him into a famous Nordic designer, and the Chinese people, the consumers, are eager to get those answers, but they cannot tell it's true or false. So if the questions are not answered correctly or by the right person, the value of Nordic will decrease. A good thing about educating level 1 consumer is that sometimes we can use very creative ways, like this. This is a national flag of Nordic China. It's a nation for spiritual Chinese Nordics. The ideology is not socialism or capitalism, it's Nordism. And the population is perhaps 0.4% of the Chinese population, quite reasonable, and that equals the Finnish population. Think about the GDP of it. Okay, now I cannot do this alone. I'm looking for ministers or even president to run this nation. The finance minister should come with money. Okay, that's all. Any questions?
All right. Thank you so much for the
Thanks.
presentation. I will join you on the stage here.
Okay.
And I'll join you other side because you are the main figure here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Now, you said many interesting things, but maybe something that you skipped over was that who are you as a person? You had many things about yourself, but maybe you could say a few words about your background and what made you come here in Finland. You can even go there if you want to show the slide.
Yeah, of course I will. Okay, that's me. My full name is Xi Yifeng, as written here. I'm Chinese. I live here. 35 years old. I've been living in Finland for 9.5 years. I live in Jyväskylä, by the way. And I'm an international trading professional. I help my clients to sort stuff in China and get everything settled, delivered to their country. And as a experienced customer for Nordic products, I start to think. I like to observe. I like to think. I like to try. I make mistakes. I learn. I try again. I try many different things. And then finally, when I think about the Nordic consumer business in general, I start to realize that there are some fundamental problems that maybe people cannot solve by themselves, or individual companies cannot solve by themselves. That's why this idea come up.
All right, and we have understood in Nordics that there's a lot of interest in, like you said, from China to about the culture, about the services, about the lifestyle.
Yeah.
So what in particular, in your mind, as you have the experiences living in Nordics for such a long time, that what is it in Nordics that actually interests in China? Why is there the link, and why the business opportunity is there?
You're talking about the quality and the value here, which will interest the Chinese consumers. Well, there are many, and if I put everything on the list, it's going to go on and on and on for hours. But the thing is, basically, Nordic, this area is so far away from China. And globally, you guys have already gained a very good reputation. And this is as far as the cultural influence goes. The Chinese people, well, we don't know the details, but we know that it is good. I'll give you some example. I have some friends, like my classmates or some friends in the big cities in China. They are considered as typical Chinese middle class or rich class. Sorry. They have money. They have a very eager, willing to consume, and they want to upgrade their lifestyle or living standard. And they know that some Nordic lifestyle or some elements here are good. They come here to buy things. Can you imagine that? You travel by plane for over 10 hours to come here to buy things. This is quite sad. You know, so people appreciate what you have here, and they don't have access to that. That's a problem.
Now, based on your experience, as you've been helping companies to take to put the, let's say, the establish a trade relations,
Yeah.
what are the typical mistakes that the Nordic startups or companies make when they try to enter the Chinese markets?
Well, I'm not very familiar with, for example, software or industrial business. But what I'm thinking is only about consumer business. When we talk about consumer business, we are going to encounter the customers face to face. You have to deal with them. You don't need middle guys. So the problem is, the companies here, usually they are quite small. As I said, they have to answer big questions first. They have to raise this market, then to sell them things. But they don't have the ability to raise a market. They cannot educate the customers because those questions are too big. So they start to sell and they fail. That's a problem. That's a problem. You cannot skip it. When you are going to sell something to a level 1 customer, you are basically competing with a lot of different people all over the world. For the customers, they don't understand anything good about Nordic, at least not in depth. And they will start to think that, okay, this is just just another foreign brand, and they will see it as some alternative to the French or to Italian. Well, nothing special, nothing Nordic. They don't see the value. That's a problem.
So you said that what you are looking for is some minister with money.
Yeah.
But what is that actually meaning? Because in the audience, although we have a big crew here over the internet, maybe the ministers are there. Who are these people that you actually need to get your ideas forward? Who are you looking for?
Okay. So you have all listened to me for 5 minutes, but that's only 5 minutes. I need more time to explain to everybody the whole picture. What I need is a team and the resources. What we are going to do is to integrate everything here, which is already existing in the Nordic countries. But I am Chinese. I don't even speak any local language. So I have very, very minimum mobility or capability to move around, talk to people here. So I need a team. Well, to run the team, you need the money. Simple as that.
Yeah, right. So you're looking for, let's say, a sponsor or investor
Yes, as well as team member.
as a team member who would like to work with you.
Yes, and simultaneously, I'm looking for many, many different resources. So I would say if anyone who's on the other side of the camera is interested in this idea, contact me.
All right.
Yeah.
And I think that the big thing here is what we always ask after the Christmas period is that have you been learning to celebrate Christmas like a Finn?
Not like a thing, but I basically don't celebrate any holiday. I just enjoy the holiday. I don't celebrate because it's Christmas or Chinese New Year. I don't. I appreciate the holiday.
I
use
love
the
the
time.
answer. Thank you much, Mr. Shi.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
All right, and if anybody's interested, we know now the person to contact, and we will take now a small technical break. We will waiting for the next presenter to arrive, and locally we are having the coffee here, and we are muting the show for a while, and we will be coming back in about 5 minutes time. So when the next presentation is up, thank you. Thank you so much for being here, and please take coffee. And we'll see if anybody is joining.
sitten tuo, jos sä haluat nähdä.
Mitä?
Tulee tuonne, vai haluatko, että on...
Mun pitää kirjautua sinne ensin. Joo. Mä voin katsoa sitä tosta. Niin kuin, että jos se on eri screenillä.
Joo, se on jaettu tällä. Ei oikealta puolelta raahata alas kellossa.
Okay. No, se olisi helpompi, jos se ei ole vaikea.
Koska
Alright, are we now getting ready?
yes.
Good. Do you need my technical expertise?
No.
Good. Alright, then Tommy can stay here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now continuing our streaming. Sorry for the little technical break here. Thank you again for Shivo, great presentation. And now we are moving into our next part of the program. So, today we're going to hear from Mr. Tomi Teikko from Tieto Corporation, presenting a great startup that Tieto has been working on called Empathic Building. So Tomi, floor is yours.
Thank you. All right, yes, hi, my name is Tomi Teikko from Tieto Evry Corporation. Tieto and Evry is a Norwegian company. We joined forces together this year, creating a 3 billion euro Nordic IT service company, biggest in Nordic. Proud to be in a large corporation. But I'm representing our internal startup called Empathic Building, which actually this is the first year for Empathic Building that we are not anymore startup. So during this year we are going to be a business unit. And the reason is that this will be our first profitable year. So we move from internal startup to as a own business unit. What we have created is a IoT or real-time data visualization engine that solves end-user problems. Okay, sounds understandable. What it means? It's a digital copy of the environment where we show data for the end users, which is normally hidden, not visible. And with this real-time data visualization, we can solve end-user problems, daily problems. Things like, where is my colleagues? What desk? Can I use this desk? What meeting room? Is there a booking? I have a customer coming in and I didn't reserve a meeting room. Which space I'm going to, where we go with my customer? And things like that. Actually, the digital twin of Empathic Building makes you a superhero. If we little bit zoom out from my digital twin, here is the digital copy of me, actually showing for my colleagues there in Espoo that I'm in Jyväskylä. That's why I'm floating there, not physically be there. And if we zoom out, I can be a superhero. I can see through walls. I can see instantly, for example, that there is a desk free there in the next building, 4th floor. Which is normally very this type of information doesn't exist in our like a daily life. Let's have a one practical example of the use case, which is my personal favorite, which was one of the most important one when the empathic building was created. When I meet customer, I agree that hey, let's meet in our campus. 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. Then the customer comes in to our campus. They come to the reception. There is the self-check-in. They check in me as a host. The system says that go to the 2nd floor and meet. Tommy will pick you up. And yes, that happens. They go to the 2nd floor. Here we have a nice place to have a coffee, nice fresh brewed coffee and latte or whatever with my customer. They instantly have a Fifi passwords there as a visitor passwords, which is typically something that you need to search somewhere. It's there, and then there is an info screen showing this data. So now when we have our lattes or cappuccinos, my customer has a Fifi passwords and everything available. Now it's time to select where we go. And for this, we just need 2 data sources. Integration to the room booking system, because yes, most of our employees in our campus, they are booking rooms because they have done that 25 years before. So why the heck change the way of their work instantly? So what they do, they can book the rooms. So we show when is the next reservation or is there ongoing reservation now. We are not interested about Porkkala's bookings next week. This is real time. Another data source comes from the movement sensor inside of the room, which actually turns on the lights at the same time. So if there is a movement, we turn the room red. So now I know that there is no one in Porkkala, no matter that there are walls that I cannot see inside of the room. So with my customer, we can go there, walk into the room and start using it, and it turns automatically red. So no admin work, no room booking systems I need to use. Just real-time data visualized for the end users and bringing the data close to the people when they are there using the info screens. So this is very important that we always keep the data visible, no matter that we have, of course, the whole thing is totally mobile ready. So empathic building visualization engine works on my iPhone as well as it works on this laptop's web browser, and I can even run it as an app in my phone. That's very easy. And while we are waiting this kind of virtual reality and augmented reality to come, we are using these like info screens. But when virtual reality comes, we can then use augmented or virtual reality version to do the navigation and other type of use cases. So our visualization engine is ready for the future also. So it's a real, very famous digital twin, creating the digital copy of the environment and helping end users to survive in their daily life, and by dropping admin and unnecessary hassle. Like I all the time know where my colleagues are, I know where their documents are, and so on. Thanks.
All right, thank you so much. You stay here and I will go to the other side. Yes.
Okay.
Questions. I understand that you were one of the originators, even if not even the originator of the idea. Where did it come from?
Yeah, like a so-called founder. Well, I try to be short, but I was working inside of our IoT startup unit, like an internal startup, and we met customers with IoT platform, and asking what kind of problems we could solve. Customers were like, they didn't have any idea. So we decided that, hey, let's make products, because there was ideas of the use cases related to the moving objects, fleets, stuff like that, and buildings. And I decided that I will do some kind of smart building type of solution, and made first business canvas model and participating events. And I noticed that end user centric designed smart building solutions non-existing on the market. That's how I decided to go with empathic building. And also the branding with empathic.
Yes, you don't call it smart, you call it empathic, and
Yes.
I must say, what do you want to achieve in the future with that?
Yes, and that's one of my personal interest for future. I see the future of empathic applications, meaning that for future apps and user interfaces, they actually know how I feel. If I feel frustrated because I don't know how to use it, the system will adjust. So the same thing with empathic building. For future, we will have, for example, together with VTT, we have a project to have real-time visualized stress levels of end users. And you can then use that data for decision making. If your environment creates a frustration and stress for the end users, I think you need to change something.
And what are you now looking for? What are you now in the next coming year? What will happen in your, I guess, called business unit now?
Yeah. What will happen? We want to grow fast globally. That is our aim. We have managed to take leading, take all the existing early adopters and customers from Finland. Now we want to do it globally.
And with that, we end. Thank you so much, Tomi Teikko.
Thanks.
And we are moving into the final part of today. You can take the phone and join the audience. And we are now inviting, do you have a presentation, Eva? And we are now changing the presentation. And with that, we will start in a minute or two.
Täällä on 2. Kumpi on uusi? Tuo. Ei, ai niin. Ota se joo. Se. Joo. Otetaan se ja katsotaan, että se on ok. Kato, sulla oli se vaan, korvaa vaan toi. Tää ei oo se.
Tämä ei ole.
No.
All right, so I will start already, and Eva and Joni are putting the presentation. Eva, turn around, the camera is there, so thank you so much.
Thanks.
So I asked Eva a few months ago, based on her, to introduce her research-based startup idea on digital coaching. And after that presentation, she went to Dubai or some other foreign country where you will explain in detail where you went. She visited to Dubai in an international seminar or conference and presented the idea there, and here she is to share her experience, what has happened since and how did the Dubai trip actually go, and what did she learn, and she has lessons learned from the magical Dubai journey. Eva Kettunen.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, Pekka. So yeah, my pitching here today, as Pekka said, is not about pitching about an idea. It's about lessons learned from my pitching when I did it in Dubai in October. So I entered digital Dubai Artificial Intelligence in Sports conference, and I presented my PhD topic, which is digital coaching. And I came here, was it September, October, to have a pitching about digital coaching. And for those people who were not listening to my pitching, I have one slide about what digital coaching actually is. So how I define digital coaching is like you have a digital personal trainer. So it's basically taking your data from what you do and creating you your own personalized training program and training plan and updating it in every single day. So it's basically doing the work and modifying that what you should do, or giving you instructions that what you should do is based on what is best for you. And this is related to aerobic fitness. So first about the Dubai conference, what it was. So I've been to quite a many conferences during my PhD career here in University of Jyväskylä, but this conference was totally different than the normal conferences that researchers go to. It was more commercial, and it was more of like a showcase for products or ideas that are already existing. So the theme of the conference was related to sports and artificial intelligence and performance enhancement, health monitoring, and laws and regulations relating to sports and artificial intelligence. They were presented in many different ways. So they had one big stage that have very famous guest speakers, whereas in normal conferences related to research, you have multiple presentations at a time, but there was only one big stage. And there were guest speakers, famous Zidane, everybody knows him, famous football player, Veikka Gustafsson, Susanna Rahkamakokko. Those were examples of athletes and people who work in sports management at the time.
I have already asked you, did you meet these persons?
I did not meet them. They were very busy with and guarded with the local people, so it was very impossible to even approach them. I would have liked to meet Veikka and Susanna, but no, they escaped after their presentations. So unfortunately, did not meet them. And there were also researchers talking about their sports and artificial intelligence research in the stage, but mostly it was about applied stuff. And there was a big area. There were about 50 companies or 50 stands from different countries. I would say at least 15 of them came from Finland, so there was a lot of Finnish companies there in Dubai. Yeah, that's about the conference. So my aim, why I went there, is to first of all present the University of Jyväskylä, and then present my PhD topic, which is digital coaching. And I presented the stuff that I've done here, the research results, and also I tried to explained how digital coaching can actually improve or can be used in physical activity promotion for different types of people. And also my aim was to go there and explore physical potential partners for future cooperation relating to research or relating to possible other things as well. Those were my aims. Here are some photos of the area. So here's my stand or our stand, and it was a big hall inside a very big building, and it's basically, you can see the length in the picture in the left hand side. And then the conference took place for 2 days. And in the first day there was a big panic that lasted for about 3 hours. There was a prince whose grandfather owned the whole arena. So he was entering and he was coming to visit the conference as well. So there were the local people, came to say me like 10 times, "Are you ready for the prince? Are you ready? He's coming soon. Is your table clear and everything?" I was like, "Yes, I'm ready." My table looked like that.
I hope the prince came to visit you.
No, he actually did not came. As you can see from the bottom down photo, there was the prince in the middle walking with Zidane, and there were about 50 people taking photographs and walking next to him so that nobody could then touch him. So I saw him about 5 seconds as he was walking by, and the whole mess was about this moment that he were was walking throughout the whole arena. So big fuss about that. But it was kind of like a cultural thing, and it was nice to experience, even though it was a bit weird. Here's a photo of Veikka Gustafsson and Zidane talking in a seminar, and we were told that we cannot leave our stand even for a toilet break alone. Like, we have to be there all the time for 2 days, and if we're going somewhere, we had to ask for one of the volunteers to come there and present our work during that we're in the toilets. I was like, okay, well, thanks for the offer, but there's no way that I can tell you everything so that you can present our university.
So lesson learned is that we should be at least 2 people who go.
That would be nice. I escaped a couple of times because I really wanted to learn something and see these famous people as well, and that was okay. So, learnings or lessons learned. Digital coaching as a topic was not familiar to many people, at least in this, as this is the term, but it generated a lot of interest. So the people were there, local people were interested in doing research related to the theme, and what was not maybe surprising, but what was really nice is that a lot of local females also came and was like, this could be really cool to promote physical activity, especially for women as well. So that was a nice thing. I had one Suunto watch with me, Suunto Digital Coach, and that was the watch I used to do, or I'm doing my research here in Jyväskylä, and people were really excited about fiddling things and coming to watch how does this work. So I was there to promote my topic and our university, but I felt that sometimes I was also promoting Suunto, and but I felt that it was a really good way to start the conversation, first showing them about the watch and then telling them about the results. So if you go there, I recommend having something concrete. That really helps. Know your audience. As I said, there's a lot of cultural differences between Finland and Dubai. And one example was that the second day was supposed to last until 5 o'clock, and it ended suddenly at 1 o'clock. And people just disappeared, and nobody told us. Then we Finns were there, and it was like 2 o'clock, and can we leave? Because there's nobody here anymore. So things can change rapidly, and the schedules, they don't stick. They change all the time. I, as a female, as a blonde female, did not feel any. I was very comfortable there, and I think local people, they believed what I said, viewed me as a professional. So even though there are cultural differences, I did not feel any awkward. I think things went well. But as these kind of things, when you have maybe 30 seconds to engage somebody and get their attention, you really have to have a clear and simple message. So first of all, asking who are they, what's their background, and then I had a lot of stories, a lot of different results from my studies, but I had to pick one thing and then what I think that suited them, and then tell them that, and find the right angle for that particular person. And that was sometimes quite challenging, but it was, I think it went well. I was happy about that. And of course, every time you go, bring Finnish chocolates, because a lot of people came there, steal a chocolate, and then they maybe felt a little bit uncomfortable just leaving immediately. So then they came and started chatting, and suddenly we found that we have spent there 20 minutes talking about the topic. So that worked. Some potential new contacts I created. These are not all, but these are the international contacts. Dubai Sports Academy, and then Dubai Police. They were interested in doing research, and they said that they have a lot of opportunities for recruiting participants. They were also, because I was telling about my research, and they were thinking that, okay, you have done this research in Finland, but how about doing the same in some other country where the culture is totally different? So they wanted to hear some other results that are not based only in Finland. Garmin Dubai came to talk to me as well, and Krida is an Indian company that have a digital coaching solution created, but that is created for gym usage mostly. So a device, an application that can watch when you're doing a squat or something, and then giving you instructions on whether your posture is good enough or not. And then Sport ID Estonia, that was maybe the best contact so far, the owner of the Sports ID, the manager, is actually also doing sports psychology or sports-related studies in Tartu University. So we are doing now a cooperation together, a study together. I offered them to 15 digital coaches, and they're doing a study, or we're using a study with teenagers in Estonia. That's really interesting. So it was really busy. I was there for 3 days, or 2.5 days basically. And because the second day was a little bit shorter, I managed to go to a local big mall and saw a local national level ice hockey game, which was really weird and nice to see in a big mall. And I was also, in the last morning, there's a contact Sina that basically arranged all of this, me going there. And we have set a meeting in his hotel. I was there and I waited him for an hour and sent a couple of messages, and then he said that he's coming. And then after an hour I was like, I really need to go because my flight is leaving. Okay, well, maybe I start coming now. I'll be there in 30 minutes. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't wait. So the culture is like that. Unfortunately, we only met for a couple of seconds during the first day, but that's something I'd lessons to learn as well. The cultural differences are still there. Okay, that's about it. Thank you.
I just have maybe one or two questions. I come to this side.
Sure.
Thank you. So, cultural differences. I noted that you made many observations. I didn't know that we would have such a time difference. So the concept of time would. Was there something that that you were very positively like surprised that okay, this is something that I really enjoy and this is something that I find valuable, or in the event or the organization or the whole experience? So what took you by positive?
First of all, it was really nice to hear that my topic raised such a big interest. Almost everybody who came to talk was very interested about my topic. And another thing, there were also, I wasn't the only representative who was from a university. So there were a lot of people searching that I want to find for my son a good university to come to. And then after talking about Finland, they saw our university and Finland as a country as a very potential study place as well. And even though there were cultural differences, attitude they had towards me, and I was really positively surprised about that it went really well, even though I was a female in their culture.
And now that this was not a typical scientific conference at all, and we know somehow how to prepare for scientific conference.
Yeah.
What are the key things to remember? What can you do already back home to go such an event? What can you do? How can you prepare? Perhaps a bit better than you did, because I remember that you left in a quite speedy after speedy arrangements.
Yeah, we had like a 1 week notice of this, but I still think that I don't know a lot of things that I could have done better, but making a clear and simple message and being as applied as possible, which is sometimes hard for people coming from the university. Give concrete things, giving them to fiddle something, or giving them like 1 or 2 ideas, not with a lot of whole bunch of ideas, because it's going to make a mess.
And I noted also that when you said that you have to talk to a person a bit to understand where they come from, because that will tune your message.
Yeah.
So that you would have a message for a person in army, a police squad, a university, perhaps colleagues, a parent looking for university.
Yep.
So you have to actually be prepared for not only for your single thing, but to have approaches. Yeah, that's a valuable lesson learned. Thank you, Eva, our ambassador in the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And this concludes this month's Open Pitch Friday. I see you first Friday of next month. Rock and roll. Thank you.